Well, welcome to Two Tokens podcast. My name is Jonny Fry, and I'm CEO of a company called Team Blockchain. And we write a weekly letter, have been so. Blimey, Alex, how long have we been writing this? About 5, nearly 6 years, looking at how, where, why, and who are using digital assets and using blockchain technology. Alex, I know I've known you for a while, but could you just give us a quick intro as to who you are? I know you come from Holland and very, very tall. Can you just say a little bit about yourself and just introduce Two Tokens?
Well, thank you, Jonny, for having me here, and great to do a podcast again, as always. I think you and I we first met in 2016 during the wild west of ICOs, if you recall.
ICOs, yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the Information Commission officer, is it?
No, 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 no. It was more fun, I guess. Yeah, but no, to answer your question. I've been in the digitization since 1980. Always been in data security and data communications, banking, and what have you. And since 2014 in blockchain, and for the better part of that period, it's almost 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We started looking not so much at the technology, which is nice, it's important, but more how do you use it? How do you get adoption?
Yeah.
And in different industries. And you being from the fintech, from the financials and digital asset industry, that's how we teamed up in 2016 with the Blockchain Ecosystem Network, later on the Crypto Economy World Tour. That's how that all came to be.
And Two Tokens. So you've Two Tokens is a fascinating sort of organization because it's part EU funded, but rather than just talking about it, you've actually got involved in a number of very interesting projects with all sorts of organizations, banks, the Port of Rotterdam, a solar renewable energy business in Australia. So a lot of different things. And you've been proving how the digitization of paperwork, of documentation, of even solar energy, actually proving that digitization is not just about, it's certainly not just about cryptocurrency, and it's not just about digitizing bonds or equities or funds, is it?
Well, if the narrative among us techies is that's the easy part, right? The narrative for techies on blockchain is, what kind of mainnet, what kind of token, what kind of crypto, and what have you. That's all nice and all. I think that's too, maybe if we're lucky, 5% of the world population get that. And if we're looking at how do we apply this to different industries, we need to change our narrative. Then we need to also inform people who are not nerds, who are not techie, and they need to see the value of what we're doing. And digitization is more than blockchain, is more than AI, is more than tokenization. It's the sum of all things. It's a multidisciplinary approach that we follow. And so in all those, and that's how Two Tokens came to be. In all those years that we worked together prior to 2020, it was always, and even in those days, yes, you have a blockchain, which is the hardware and the software, but what is the underlying business that supports this? What is your token taxonomy? What is the legal and regulatory requirements? How are you going to make money? Is it different ways of? And so, yes, technology still very important, but technology is makeable, right? What is not makeable is how people work and how people interact and how laws are formed. Right. And that applies to all different types of industries. Of course, digital asset fintech happens to be the early adopter, the first one to be changed. But every industry, in the end, is going to have to believe in digitization, and we call that the token economy. Hence the word two tokens. If there are two tokens, how do you exchange value between another? How do you what is value anyways? What is the meaning of value? What is the meaning of money?
And that is what two tokens was, because you lost your first token, so you've now got two tokens.
The two tokens, exactly. And
Alex, the reason I've asked you to come on the show today is to talk about, you've been selected by by the government in Holland to look at stable coins. Can you give us a bit of background to that? Because it was quite a bit of fierce competition. You've teamed up with some pretty impressive people as part of this new project.
Well, of course, this today is September 6th. The press release of the European Commission is out. It was actually not the Dutch government, it was the European Commission set out and asked for applications to come into a regulatory blockchain sandbox. And out of hundreds of applications, I don't know how many, 20 were selected. And we are one of them because 2tokens has a consortium of banks and digital assets companies, named ABN AMRO, Rabobank, and Asset Blocks. And this is a real business case, and we wanted to. That's the one that we put in for the project, and yeah, we have been selected.
Wow! And you've been selected to look at how to establish and what were the ideal characteristics. What for a euro-backed stablecoin, presumably.
So the 2tokens is the leader in this project, and 2tokens, in everything we do, we are independent and neutral, and everything that we publish is for the public good and for the public domain. And in this case, we have three industries who are, and the business case is Asset Blocks, and Asset Blocks use case provides the possibility to invest in the tracking of stock of SPVs that represent renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and battery parks.
Mm-hmm.
This is tokenized. This proof of investment, and that is represented as a non-fungible token. And the issue is a security under MiFID II. So all regulated, right? So nothing wrong, nothing strange there. Customers can go to a portal, they do the KYC, and they can buy and invest in these assets using euros, right? And dividends are also paid in euros, regular fiat currency. So payments for both purchase or sale of the NFTs in this case, and the distribution of dividends are all done in euros. And so it is the wish of this business case of this owner, Asset Blocks, and the underlying banks to not only do these payments and the distribution of dividends, not only do that in fiat currency in euros, but also do this using a stable coin. And that is the what the business case is, and that's the whole project. And in this, you can find the one pager of this business case on the website of the European Commission. And the press release went out today, and among with the other 19 projects. But what we are going to look at, and we have a whole series of questions and process flows, is what do the regulators think of all this? So we will be working with the Dutch regulators and central banks. We have asked German regulators, BaFin, French, and the several regulators in Europe who will be working alongside with us and give us advice and look into this case.
And what sort of timescale are you talking about, Alex?
So the project, the whole alignment and everything started, I think, in Q1, and for Q3 and Q4, we're going to have several sessions, and we will, in the end, I think it's going to be finished by Christmas. Yeah, by Christmas.
Okay.
Beginning of the year. Yeah.
Interesting to see ABN AMRO. I know we've got a number of mutual friends at ABN AMRO. That they have issued debt instruments using blockchain technology, and it's taken a while to get it off the ground, but they've done it successfully. So they've obviously got expertise in this area, and obviously being a major Dutch bank along with Rabobank. Interesting, you've got these banks involved because this is it's potentially an alternative form of payment. It doesn't necessarily mean cash is going, but it means if institutions move or make payments faster and cheaper and less risky, then they're going to want to be looking to explore this technology, presumably.
Yeah, the way the business case works now is Asset Blocks does this with fiat currency, and which means you have to go in and out of the system, which creates extra friction, right? And if the banks are involved here because they would be the wallet, they would be helping with the wallets and the trust and what have you. But by adding the possibility to pay in stablecoin, you remove friction and you make it easier to transfer value between Asset Blocks and the customers.
Yeah. Well,
and mind you, this is within the whole EU SEPA region, so the European Union. So as well as I do, tokens don't know borders, right? So payments are cross-border, and technically tokens stay within the system, but the recipient could indeed be abroad, and in that sense, it's cross-border.
Yes.
Right? So that's what makes this very interesting. And of course, you and I, we've been pushing for this. And in the beginning, in 2015, 16, there was a lot of promise and a lot of, a lot of projects out there just to try and test and experimentation. But we're way beyond that, in terms of technical ready levels.
Well, Alex, that's what I wanted to touch on, a couple of examples, because I think it's super fascinating what you're doing here with a stablecoin, because as we see the digitalization of income producing assets, so for example, if you've got bonds, or if you've got shares, or you've got real estate, or you've got funds, all of those or many of those produce a regular income, and a lot of those historically have only paid that income on a 6 monthly basis. But as you start to see the underlying assets get digitized, there's no reason why you won't start seeing income being paid on a monthly basis, or maybe even more frequently than that. And with paying it on digitally in a digital format, you can start making micropayments, for holders of that investment. But it's not just the EU that are looking at this. As Alex has said, today we're recording this on the 1st of September, and what's actually happened yesterday was Swift, which is the global messaging system, have announced that they've come out with a basically saying, look, we have a platform that can handle, and we've already been trialing it with a variety of different blockchains and moving different forms of digital assets around the marketplace. A couple of months ago, back in June, we saw MasterCard coming out with their multi-token network, and we understand there's more news coming out from MasterCard as a payment facilitator, and they're looking very closely at tokens and what can actually happen. So, and then finally, there was some fascinating reading that we're looking at actually only yesterday afternoon from the Bank of International Settlement, and they were looking at the impact of asset-backed lending. So this is lending or giving lines of credit for to a business secured by some sort of collateral, maybe inventory, equipment, accounts receivable, balance sheet assets. And according to the Bank of International Settlement, some work been going on in China. They claim that actually using blockchain technology, they're able to reduce the cost of asset-backed lending by 25 basis points. And so here we have a number of institutions in a number of jurisdictions all coming to the same conclusion. But the missing piece is a properly secured mechanism to make digital payments. I know we've got Circle, I know we've got Tether, and that they've got billions, both in terms of under management, but they're also making the owners a lot of money. So it'll be nice to see a stable coin that pays, the holders a little bit of interest. It'd be nice to have the stable coin to have an audit, wouldn't it, Alex?
You're more of a digital asset and payment specialist than I am, but let's just look at this, right? Because digital money has been around, we can argue about this for a while. And whether you have a digital euro or a stable coin, we could have that discussion a while. But the question, of course, is, what's the meaning of money and what's the meaning of payment, right? But so, and to be fair, if I buy a bond, I don't need a euro stablecoin or digital. I can do that with fiat currency.
Yes.
Works very well. Yep. But if we get into digital infrastructure such as digital solar panels, digitizing solar panels or wind energy, if you get into the use cases of paying per kilowatt hour,
Yep.
then you would we need another type of payment infrastructure, and that's why in this particular case with asset blocks, a euro stable coin might lend itself very well to that. So and it's a way, the asset blocks are doing it with fiat currency, but it would work even better if they had euro stable coin.
Got it.
And that's the plan, and that's why we entered this. We submitted this use case to the European blockchain sandbox.
Great. Well, look, Alex, thank you very much for coming on the Digital Byte show today, and really interesting to see, that Two Tokens. I know you've had a number of success stories, as I said, in a variety of different industries, but great to see that you've been selected by European government to look into the stablecoin, and I'm really pleased that you hope to get some tangible results before the end of the year. So if we can, I'd love to get you back on and we'll get an update as to how things have gone, and I'm sure there'll be lessons learned. So it'd be great if you could share that experience with us, or one of your colleagues later in the year.
Absolutely, stay tuned on for sure, Jonny. When we have you back in our masterclass for the second stream this year, this is certainly something we're going to be addressing. Yeah. So you can be sure of that.
That's a really good point. Can you just give a very quick? So I know we're getting tight time, but can you just give a quick overview of the masterclasses that Two Tokens have been running, who they're aimed for, and what do they basically cover?
So master classes are given by masters, first of all, and we target the audience that we target are professionals, whether they're barristers or legal or financial, who want to get upskilled, if you will, in the world of decentralized finance and tokenization. And what we cover in 5-6 afternoon sessions is all the basics of course, the technology. We can't stay away from that, so we have to talk about smart contracts and that type of stuff. Yeah. But first and foremost, we talk about value engineering. Actually, we call it token value engineering. What does your business model look like? What kind of value are you transferring before you can even think about structuring a token, right? And all those sessions are given by professors and masters in the industry, and we like to do it in small classes with 25-30 people, where people come together and they bring in their own use case as well, right? Whether you are in the energy industry or in finance, or maybe you're in agriculture.
Or telecoms, you had NTT there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had NTT, we have banks, so we think it's important that we educate the leaders of tomorrow's businesses on token taxonomy and the token economy.
Right,
and that's what we do.
And very much there's something I know you've been passionate on. This is not designed for geeks. This is designed to actually explain the commercial application of the technology and digitization. So very practical, with lots of case studies that people can then hopefully then take back into their own companies and practices and start employing.
It's a good point you're making, because a lot of people our generation.
I made it, Alex. For goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. No. But a lot of people our generation, who've been in digitization for 30 years, are afraid to admit that sometimes it's complex, and it is complex, and we should embrace this complexity. And so rather than going into the geekiness and the nerdiness, we go into how do we apply this to your business? What laws should we abide to? What's the business that's underlying? And that makes it very interesting. It's a different narrative, and we should all be starting to sing that song. And that's what we do.
All right. Well, before you burst into hurdy-gurdy songs, I think we just one final thing. How do listeners get more information about what you're talking about? It's twotokens.org, Alex Bausch, Bausch, on LinkedIn. They're the best place, aren't they, Alex?
Twotokens.org. Yes, that's where we are. And we are non-for-profit, so you can all join in what we're doing. Lovely.
All right, Alex, thank you very much for coming on today. And we'll look forward to getting an update on the Euro stablecoin project you've been talking about, and also more information on the masterclasses later on this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonny.